LeBron James built his empire on loyalty, mentorship, and the image of the ultimate leader. But what happens when the one man who helped shape that image turns his back on him? When the mentor, who once called LeBron the chosen one, now questions everything we thought we knew about his legacy? This isn't just another hot take from a retired player looking for attention. This is someone who was there, in the locker rooms, in the private conversations, in the moments the cameras never saw. And what he just revealed? It's shaking the entire basketball world to its core. The GOAT debate just got a whole lot messier. Before LeBron James became a global icon, before the championships and the billions in endorsements, there was someone standing in the shadows, guiding him. Someone who saw the raw talent in a kid from Akron and helped mold him into what the world would later call King James. This wasn't just a coach or a trainer. This was a mentor in every sense of the word. Someone who taught LeBron not just how to dominate on the court, but how to carry himself off it. How to handle the pressure of being the next big thing since he was 15 years old. How to navigate a league that was waiting for him to fail. For years, their relationship was the stuff of legends. The mentor would talk about LeBron in interviews with pride, calling him not just a talented athlete, but a student of the game. Someone who listened, who worked harder than anyone else, who respected the process. And LeBron? He'd speak about his mentor with reverence, crediting him for shaping his mindset during the most crucial years of his development. They were inseparable during LeBron's early rise. Whether it was late-night training sessions, film study, or just conversations about life and legacy, this mentor was there. He wasn't looking for credit or spotlight. He just wanted to see LeBron succeed. And succeed he did. But here's the thing. About mentorship, it's built on trust, respect, and shared values. And when those foundations start to crack, everything falls apart. For years, everything seemed perfect. But if you were paying close attention, you would have noticed something shifting. Small things, at first. The kind of things that don't make headlines, but tell you something's brewing beneath the surface. Around early 2024, the mentor started appearing less frequently in LeBron's inner circle. No more courtside appearances, no more mentions in post-game interviews. It was subtle, but it was there. Fans brushed it off. People grow apart, priorities change. But looking back now, those were warning signs. Then came the cryptic social media activity. A deleted post here, an unfollowed account there. The mentor started doing interviews where he'd talk about the game changing and players today not having the same hunger. He never named LeBron directly, but those who knew their history could read between the lines. One interview in particular stood out. The mentor was asked about modern superstars and their approach to legacy building. His response? Some guys are more worried about their brand than their game. They want to be liked more than they want to be great. The host tried to steer the conversation away, but the damage was done. Clips of that moment went viral, with fans immediately speculating, was he talking about LeBron? LeBron never addressed it publicly. He kept posting his usual motivational quotes, his workout videos, his family moments. But behind the scenes, people close to both men said the relationship had gone cold. Phone calls stopped being returned. Invitations were declined. Whatever bond they once had was disintegrating. And then, in February 2025, everything exploded. But before we get to that bombshell moment, let me ask you something. Have you ever had someone you looked up to completely flip the script on you? Drop a comment and let me know, because what's about to happen next is going to make you question everything you thought you knew about loyalty. February 2025. A podcast interview that was supposed to be a casual conversation about basketball history turned into the most controversial moment of the year. The mentor sat down, relaxed, seemingly ready to talk about the good old days. But when the host brought up LeBron's name, everything shifted. Look, the mentor said, leaning forward with a seriousness that caught everyone off guard. I love what LeBron has accomplished, but if we're being honest, and I mean really honest, there are things people don't know. Things that, if they came out, would change how we talk about his legacy. The host's eyes widened. What do you mean by that? The mentor paused, as if weighing whether to go there. Then he did. LeBron is brilliant at controlling narratives. He's built this image of being the humble kid from Akron who just loves the game. And parts of that are true. But there's another side, a calculated side. A side that makes decisions based on what protects the brand, not what honors the game. He went on, and this is where it gets wild. There were moments I witnessed firsthand where decisions were made that had nothing to do with competition and everything to do with optics. Teammates being iced out because they didn't fit the narrative, coaches being undermined because they challenged him, and the media. He's got them in his pocket. You say the wrong thing about LeBron and suddenly you're persona non grata. The podcast host tried to push back, asking for specifics. The mentor didn't give names or exact dates, but he painted a picture. A picture of a player so obsessed with legacy that he's willing to manipulate situations, relationships, and even his own team dynamics to protect his image. People call him the GOAT, but the GOAT is about greatness in its purest form. Michael didn't care what people thought. Kobe didn't care what people thought. They played to win. Consequences be damned. LeBron, he plays to be loved. And when you play for approval, you're not playing for greatness. The internet exploded. Within hours, clips from the interview were everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Everyone had an opinion. LeBron's defenders called the mentor bitter, jealous, irrelevant. His critics said this was the confirmation they'd been waiting for, that LeBron's GOAT case was built on smoke and mirrors. And LeBron? Silence. Not a tweet, not a statement, nothing. Which only made people more suspicious. Once the floodgates opened, people started digging, and what they found added fuel to the fire. Fans pulled up old clips of LeBron's teammates looking frustrated during timeouts. They analyzed body language and championship celebrations. They revisited every super team he'd formed, every coach he'd played under, every time he'd switched teams. And suddenly, the mentor's words started to make sense to a lot of people. One of the biggest talking points is the way LeBron has curated his public image over the years. Think about it. Every documentary, every interview, every social media post, it's all perfectly crafted. There's never a crack in the armor, never a moment where he seems vulnerable or wrong. Compare that to Jordan's competitive rage or Kobe's ruthless honesty. LeBron is always in control of the narrative. And then there's the stat manipulation conversation. Critics have long pointed out that LeBron seems unusually aware of his numbers during games, passing up shots to preserve his field goal percentage, hunting for assists to pad his stats, playing in blowouts to chase milestones. Are these things definitive proof of anything? No, but combined with the mentor's accusations, they start to form a pattern. And let's talk about the super team era. LeBron has been part of 3 different super teams in his career. Each time, he's portrayed himself as just trying to compete for championships. But the mentor's interview raised a different question. Was it really about winning, or was it about stacking the deck so he could never be blamed for losing? He's never wanted to be the guy who fails, so he's built situations where failure isn't an option. But that's not what greatness is about. Greatness is about risking failure and doing it anyway. The comparisons to Jordan became inevitable. Jordan didn't leave Chicago to team up with other stars. He stayed, fought, and built a dynasty from the ground up. LeBron? He switched teams multiple times, always chasing the easiest path to a ring. And when things didn't work out, he moved again. Social media was divided. Some people defended LeBron, saying the mentor was just salty that he wasn't part of LeBron's life anymore. Others said this was the truth finally coming to light. The hashtag #NotMyGOAT trended for 3 straight days. And through it all, LeBron stayed silent. So here's the question we're all wrestling with. Does any of this actually matter? On one hand, LeBron's resume speaks for itself. Multiple championships, MVP awards, all-time scoring leader, 2 decades of dominance. Those are facts. Those can't be taken away. But on the other hand, legacy isn't just about numbers. It's about how you achieved those numbers. It's about the respect of your peers. It's about whether people believe your greatness was authentic or manufactured. And that's where this mentor's accusations cut deep. Because if there's even a shred of truth to what he's saying, it changes the conversation. It means LeBron's carefully constructed image isn't the full story. It means there's a side to him that we've never seen, a side that's more concerned with perception than reality. Does that disqualify him from GOAT consideration? That depends on who you ask. For some fans, greatness is greatness no matter how it's achieved, LeBron played the game better than almost anyone in history, and that's enough. For others, the how matters just as much as the what. And if LeBron was manipulating situations, controlling narratives, and prioritizing his brand over pure competition, then maybe he doesn't deserve to be in the same conversation as Jordan. The truth is, we may never know the full story. The mentor has said his piece, but he's not giving names or specific incidents. LeBron isn't responding, which could mean he's above the drama, or it could mean he doesn't have a good defense. And the media? They're too invested in the LeBron machine to dig too deep. But here's what we do know. This isn't going away. The seed of doubt has been planted. And in the court of public opinion, doubt is often enough. Will LeBron address this eventually? Maybe. Will it change how history remembers him? Possibly. But one thing is for sure.